Well, g'day, folks. Today we're joined by a star of Fox Sports. She does a wonderful job of reading the sport and presenting as well. She spent a bit of time in Adelaide back in the day as a sports reader on Channel 10. Did a bit of emceeing as well for the footy for one of our local teams. She was also on an Australian soapie, a much-loved Australian soapie. We'll find out more about what that was. And as a child, she had a very interesting life hanging out with some big names of the country music side of things. So we'll find out more a bit later on in terms of who those people were. Look forward to hearing more on Legends with Bevo.
Welcome to Legends with Bevo. Thanks to the Holdy Hotel, Coopers and Anytime Fitness Glenelg.
Well, g'day and welcome to Legends with Bevo. We're joined today by Alissa Smith over there in New South Wales, a former Adelaide girl, and as you can see, she's a proud Port Adelaide supporter, was an MC for the great club back in the day. Alissa, how you going over there, and what's happening with the coronavirus over there in New South Wales and your job with Fox Sports?
Nice to see you, Bevo. You can take the girl out of Adelaide, but you can't take Adelaide out of the girl, right? Or Port Adelaide, I should say. It's right now, how crazy is it? I mean, the coronavirus crisis is affecting, not just sport itself, but everyone. It's horrible to see what the virus is doing to humanity. As in, that people are dying around the world, which is horrible. But yeah, it's interesting because, as you've mentioned, it's affecting sport. It's affecting the A-League, it's affecting AFL, it's affecting NRL, all the major sporting codes around the globe, really, including EPL, you name it, everyone's been suspended. And the problem with this is that no one really knows when sport is going to come back. So if you look at the NRL, they're looking at holding different conferences and creating these isolation hubs as the AFL as well. So but the prediction of when sport's going to come back is up in the air because it's just that, right? It's a prediction. No one really knows how long this virus is going to be around for. But in regards to work, it's been well documented that a lot of people have lost their jobs, unfortunately, and it's super sad because there are so many talented people, as you know, Bevo, that work in sport. So it's heartbreaking to see your colleagues lose their jobs or be stood down. So, I mean, that's a really hard thing because sport will come back eventually. So in the interim, there's limited live sport to report on. But at the same time, we're reporting on things like, the speculation of when sport will come back, the reaction of, people training at home, the different things they're getting up to. And you've seen some of the memes come out. You've seen AFL players, being based in Adelaide, taking to TikTok and Instagram and really getting the hang of that and the new dance moves that they're putting out there. I mean, it's a little bit crazy right now. The world's gone mad.
It has. I can see you've got a pretty impressive weight set up in there, and you've been doing a bit of a workout, I see, from what you told me this morning.
Yeah, so this is our little makeshift weights room in the house here. We've just got a few kettlebells, a few boxing pads in here, some ropes, yoga mats, and some weights, so some dumbbells. But so we've got this room. This is our sports room. But this morning just went for a bit of a run with my partner, which is always interesting. It's very competitive because we're both very competitive people. And then tonight I'll go for a snorkel or an ocean swim and then do an hour-and-a-half yoga class tonight. It is my day off, so I don't have to work tonight. So I've got some time to, have a bit of a balance, which is good. But yeah, this room hasn't got too much of a workout yet, but it will. Don't worry about that.
And you mentioned your partner, Mattie Balon, who we just met before. He's a former two-time premiership player with Manly, which is very cool. How'd you guys meet?
Through Fox Sports, surprisingly. So he played with Manly Seagulls and he's a coach there. So it's interesting times with the NRL. So his job at the moment, he's looking after all the players and making sure they're okay with the health and wellbeing side of things. But yeah, we met through Fox Sports. So I would come off from presenting an hour bulletin and he would do the expert comments on the NRL games from the weekend. So I would come off air and he would come on air during the ad break and we'd just say hi and pass, and that was pretty much it. So it's interesting. He gets what I do, which is great because he's in the media industry to a degree, but I also get what he does because it's sport, right? So we complement each other well, but both industries are extremely competitive, which means we both are very competitive people, Bevo. So it makes for some interesting banter, but wow, it's a competitive relationship, that's for sure.
I can imagine. And what was the first date? What was his? How was his moves to get you?
Oh, do you really want to know that? I stood him up for 3 hours. I stood him up for 3 hours. I left him waiting for me. I was hosting an AFL game, and I thought the game would finish, and it went a little bit longer than what I thought, and I was 3 hours late. But he waited for me, so that was a good thing.
That's when you know it's a good cut.
Very true, very true.
And now, at the start of the show, you've actually been on an Australian soapie, which is very cool. And I'm going to give it away now because I recently chatted to Irene Granger from Home and Away, and you've actually been on Summer Bay. How cool. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so growing up, I did a bit of acting before TV presenting. And when I was 15 years of age, so I was still at high school, I used to go to Sydney. So I grew up on the Central Coast, just south of Newcastle in New South Wales. And I used to get pulled out of school once a week or once every 2 weeks. And I would go down to Sydney. I'd spend the day at Summer Bay, and I was Cindy, the waitress in the diner, for 2.5 years. So delivering coffees and food around the diner. But yeah, it was an interesting time. I loved acting, but my family are all entertainers, and they taught me from day dot. They said, you need to appreciate everyone's role. So you need to step back and understand what the gaffer guy does, what the lighting man does, what the cameraman does, what the director does. And you can't just walk in with a big ego. You need to appreciate that everyone works together to create a team. And so doing that and working with Channel 7 for so long, it gave me that grounding of just how important everyone's roles were to make the final product, not just walking in as an actor and, thinking, you're it, So it takes a whole team to build a project and to get the final product out there. So it was a really good base, and it was kind of like my family, because when I left Sydney, or when I left home straight out of high school, they were the only people I really knew in Sydney when I moved to Sydney. So it was like a little family. It was really, really nice.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that story. And speaking of stories, you actually spent a bit of time on the road as a young girl, actually with some country and western stars, actually Slim Dusty, which is one of the coolest people, obviously, of all time. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so Slim is my great uncle. So my grandparents, my uncles and aunties, and my parents are country music artists. I wish I got that talent, but hey, I missed out on that one. Yes, my granddad was Reg Lindsay, who he had his own TV show here in Australia for 12 years. He had 2 TV shows for Channel 9 called the Reg Lindsay Country Homestead and the Country and Western Hour, were the 2 shows. And one was actually filmed in Adelaide for 8 years. So he'd fly every week down to Adelaide to record it, and then it would be sent out around Australia. So that was Pop, and he married my nan Heather McKean, who was part of the McKean sisters. So she was a yodeler, and she used to tour Australia. And then her sister, Joy McKean, who's the other half of the McKean sisters, married Slim. And so he's my great uncle. And when I was really young, my pop, Reg, was over in America. He had #1 hits over there. He actually beat the Beatles, believe it or not, on the charts. Very cool. But here in Australia, unfortunately, my dad passed away quite tragically when I was little. So my mum raised us 3 kids on her own. And so to give mum a break during school holidays, wherever Slim, Nan and Auntie Joy were, I would get shipped off to where they were and spend my school holidays with my extended family. So I grew up, on the road a little bit. And so I'd spend time with them. I'd go to every show. I'd fall asleep at night time, while the concert was still going, underneath the merchandise table or out the back in the green room. Sometimes we did a family song as well, so we'd get up on stage with Slim and we'd all sing together. But it was a very cool time.
Yeah, that's such an awesome story. I love hearing like those sort of awesome things that you just, you know, you don't hear about every day as well. And Slim Dusty, what a legend he was.
A bit different.
And talk us through your journey, because it's been a very interesting one. You spent a bit of time in the snow working as a reporter there, and then in Adelaide, which we mentioned at the start of the show, where I got to meet you and I spent a week at Channel 10, which is very cool. And you're actually on Totally Wild as well. Yeah, talk us through the Alissa Smith journey and how you end up at Fox Sports.
Yeah, so I straight out of high school, I auditioned for NIDA, National Institute of Dramatic Arts, for acting and TV presenting, and I got accepted in there. I got accepted there underage. I didn't lie about my age, but I wrote it down in date form because you have to be 18 to actually get in there. So I just wanted to know what to do the following year, right? So I just thought I'd get ahead of the game, and you know, I got accepted and I was blown away. So I threw uni out the window. I moved to Sydney, and I moved into Slim's merchandise room, believe it or not, in North Sydney. And so I lived in that room for 2.5 years, and it was, you know, one bed and then just records. Under my bed I had drawers of like peak hats of Slims. On the shelves I had records and belt buckles, so my clothes were between those. I did a bit of acting, and then after that I realised I really wanted to go into TV presenting. So I went back to NIDA, did another course, and then landed a gig at the snow reporting, so weather reporting on the slopes, which was pretty cool. But it was like, you know, we had to get up at 3 a.m. in the morning, hoodie on, walk through blizzard conditions to get to the studio. And yeah, they were long days. They were really long days. It was like radio, TV, live crosses. It was full on. And then from there, I got approached by Channel 10, so I went and worked with them for a while on the Sports Tonight and doing a few things in entertainment. So I was doing some producing for MasterChef, Biggest Loser, Young Talent Time, which was really, really cool. And then from that, you know, I had a bit of a car accident, and that's why I took a back step. I had quite a bad car accident, but I took a bit of a back step from being in front of camera to producing, just so my body could rehabilitate and I could get a bit better and back on my feet. And my boss said to me, a job's come up at Totally Wild, you need to go for it. And I'd actually applied for Totally Wild, believe it or not, when I was 15 years of age, 16 years of age, 17 and 18. And they had all their presenters and no one's leaving there. I mean, Ranger Stacey is still there, so she's amazing. I applied, and then within 2 weeks I was living in Adelaide. I'd never been there before. All I rocked up with was a suitcase and a job. I didn't know my housemate. So it was different. It was so cool though. It was Totally Wild because I got to do some extreme things that I probably never would have done. I mean, I love extreme sports, so you know it was a great fit for me. But then, and then after that, I thought, you know, my time here is done. I'll really want to go into sports journalism. I went to uni as well and got a degree in amongst all that as well. So Channel 10 said, we've got a spot opening up. So I ended up doing sport reporting for Channel 10. And then I received a text message, believe it or not, from Fox Sports News a few years later saying, come and work for us. So, I had an interview and I ended up working in for Fox in Adelaide. So, and for a while there, I was working Monday to Friday in Adelaide for them as their only sports journo. And then on the weekends, they were flying me to Sydney to present in the studio at our Tarman. So I'd present on the weekends and then I'd fly back Sunday night and then I'd report Monday to Friday, then I'd fly back again and then I'd report Monday to Friday in Adelaide and then I'd fly back to Sydney. Yeah, for a little while. And then we had a merger with Sky News and Fox Sports and I ended up being moved back to Sydney. So still at Fox Sports News, still presenting and still loving it.
So cool. And you've done some very interesting interviews over your time. What's been your most favourite interview and your worst interview, I guess, or one that hasn't gone to plan?
Jeez, that's a tough question, Bevo. My favourite interview. I've interviewed for all of my career. Yeah. I mean, I've interviewed 5-year-old kids, and those interviews are hilarious because you can script as much as you want, but the saying "never work with children or animals" totally wild. It was that hands down. Every interview was thrown out the window. My favourite interview. You know what? I've had a lot. Probably one of the biggest things that I've covered would have been the whole Folau situation and being live on air for, 2-3 hours straight of just throwing to different professionals within sport and being able to carry on with interviews. And that for myself was a bit of an achievement because, I worked so hard outside of Fox Sports News, hosting, as you mentioned earlier, like different sport around the country, and seeing different gigs and getting to know players. And so I actually, when that Folau story broke, I actually spoke to him and I interviewed him 2 days beforehand at the game when he was playing for the Waratahs. So, and I saw his brother. I spoke to his brother as well before it all unfolded. So that was probably one of the biggest things that's happened besides COVID-19. I mean, it's just a crazy time right now, right? The worst interview I've ever had, that's a tough one as well. When you get people, Bevo, you would have had this as well. When you get people and they give you one-word answers, and you're like, where do you go with that? That's so hard. It's so hard to come up with questions.
They are the worst. You ask like 15 questions and you get one-word answers, and you're just like, oh yeah, thanks so much for your time. Like you just can't. You've got no. Okay, what about this one? I'm sure you haven't been asked this before. What's been your most embarrassing moment on television?
Okay. Last year, I know exactly what one this is. Do you know about this?
I don't.
Before I tell you?
No.
You don't? Okay. Last year, I was wondering why you pulled this out. So last year, I've had a few embarrassing moments on there because we were live all of the time. Last year, I was opening up a debate show that I was hosting called The Serve, and I have two guests, one on either side of me. And basically, we debate and discuss the different sporting topics from throughout the day or throughout the week, and we have our own opinions. And anyway, normally we have like there's a 10-second play on, so it's like the music before you go to air, so you've got a 10-second countdown before you're live, like you're on screen. Anyway, so that happened, and we were in the ad break, came on set, I was mic'd up, had a very tight dress on, two guests beside me. Well, one guest came on and he was a little bit late and said, Alissa, I need that's my mic. I'm like, what do you mean? Oh my goodness, okay. So I got up, turned around, and I had no cues in my ear because, one show comes off and then we come on, and the studio crew only have 3 minutes to turn around from one show to another show. They've got to change all the cameras, all the microphone setups, the whole lot. Anyway, so I had a zipper on. I turned around. Luckily, I turned around, unzipped my dress, took the microphone off, new one on, and as I was turning around, I didn't realise, because the play on didn't roll to the show, but we were live on air. So I was getting dressed live on national television to the whole of Australia and New Zealand. And, no one was talking to me. Now we look back and we laugh at it, But at the time, I had no idea because the play onto the show didn't roll. No one was talking to me in my IFB, like in my earpiece. And one of the guys is going, we're on air. I'm going, no, we're not. So I'm still waiting for the play onto the show to roll. And then finally it rolled. And I looked at the clock and we were already past the hour. So right on the hour you go to air. We were past that. And I went, oh no, what did everyone see? Because I was zipping up on national television. Anyway, sure enough, I received text messages galore about that one, even from Chile. It went on Facebook and it went crazy. And I had some athletes contacting me from when they were competing overseas going, have you learned how to dress yourself? So I just wanted to, we got through the show show, and no joke, it was one of the best ones that we've ever done, because we didn't realise how bad, or we didn't know if we were live on air or not, but we were definitely live on air when we watched it back, and the whole of Australia and New Zealand saw that. So that was probably one of my most embarrassing moments on live TV. Yeah. One of the most hilarious now.
That's an absolute belter. I love it, listen.
Oh, I think I aged about 5 years that night.
Oh, that's so good. We'll finish with a couple of questions about the AFL and the NRL. When do you honestly think we're going to get rugby and footy back?
That is the million-dollar question, Bevo. Who knows? You know, the NRL are having meetings today with the Innovation Committee and then the ARL Committee this afternoon, and they'll take what the Innovation Committee have put forward and they'll talk about that and they'll come up with this idea. So that's the NRL. The NRL are looking at having 2 conferences, so one in Queensland, one in New South Wales and Sydney. And so they're looking at doing that and then coming together to have kind of like a final series, but it'll be structured differently. So they hope to get that underway from May 21. Whether or not that's a little bit too optimistic is yet to be spoken about. But the AFL say that they won't follow suit. They'll be watching the NRL, but they, you know, are still looking at their own timelines. So the AFL will have a look at their situation on April 27. And then if given the green light by government and health authorities, then they'll start training on May 4. But whether or not this happens, it just, you know, no one really knows because this virus hasn't been around for that long. So everyone's learning. And I just think, you know, we're curbing the issue now, but what happens if there's another spike? You know, that could really put a delay in everything. So, and it all comes down to the players as well. If they are okay about going into isolation and being away from their family, away from their children, some players may disagree to do that. So then that's going to be an issue again. Some coaching staff may have an issue with that, so that's going to be an issue again. But from a media perspective, it is like a movie unfolding. The plot just keeps twisting and turning. It's unreal.
And I bet you just can't wait to start talking about sport as well, because there's only so much like you can talk about with what's been happening in the past and what might happen in the future, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But, you know, it's all speculation at the moment. The reaction is golden because some people, you know, are really all for, you know, if it's safe, go ahead with it, why not? But then other people are like, but you don't know if it's truly safe. So the reaction, the banter has been unreal to listen to. It's just the story that keeps on giving, right? And it hasn't ended and we just don't know when it's going to end. Yeah,
well, fingers crossed that it's back sooner rather than later because we all want to see some footy. And thanks so much for your time today, Alissa. It's been a pleasure chatting to you and hearing those great stories. I just love that addressing yourself on national television. That's amazing. Keep up the great work on Fox Sports. And to you and Mattie, I'm really stoked that you got to be such a nice guy. And Mattie, and perhaps we'll try and get him on for a chat and hear what he has to say about you on Legends with Bevo.
Oh, God, no, because that would be more embarrassing than getting dressed on, than caught getting dressed on air. That would be more embarrassing, Bevo. Hey, thanks so much for having me on. It's been awesome speaking with you and chatting with you again.
Yes, and of course you can see Alissa on Fox Sports, reading the sport on weeknights and during the weekends as well. So keep up the great work. Take care, and we'll speak again soon.
Speak soon, Bevo. Thanks, Legend.
You too. Cheers.